Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day thanks to viewers and sponsors just like you. And I have been asked about sponsoring EPN. The easiest way to do that is to go to gaming.youtube.com/EPNTV, and you'll see that there's a sponsor button right there. And speaking of which, thank you so much for your support, Powder Keg. Your sponsorship and your support of EPN means the world to us, and this rundown is all yours. Don't expect the adventures of Rey, Poe, BB-8, and Finn to come to an end after Star Wars Episode 9. Disney and Lucasfilm are planning to continue using the new characters from the recent films in their own solo movies and other spin-off adventures well after Episode 9 ends the new trilogy in 2019. That's according to Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy, who made the announcement on the latest episode of the Lucasfilm-produced video series, The Star Wars Show. When asked what the future holds for the Star Wars film franchise, Kennedy revealed that they're already planning out the next 10 years of Star Wars stories and are thinking about new spin-off movies focusing on Rey, Poe, Finn, and BB-8. Here's what she said.
You know, we're sitting down now, we're talking about the next 10 years of Star Wars stories, and we're looking at narratively where that might go. Future stories beyond Episode 9 with these new characters, Rey, Poe, Finn, BB-8. But we're also looking at working with people that are interested in coming into the Star Wars world and taking us to places that we haven't been yet. And that's exciting too, because it's a vast galaxy far, far away.
The bit about telling new stories with Rey, Poe, Finn, and BB-8 is probably the most interesting. It means that Lucasfilm wants to further utilize the look and feel of the new trilogy as well as its current group of actors, and not just keep exploiting the nostalgia surrounding the original trilogy, which is what they've been doing with recent movies like Rogue One. Planning out the next 10 years of movies isn't anything unusual. Another Disney subsidiary, Marvel, is already doing the same thing with their movie universe, so it makes sense that Star Wars would do it as well. The studio hasn't officially confirmed what any of these new spin-off movies they're developing might be, however. Right now, the only officially announced title, aside from Episode 9, is the Han Solo prequel that arrives in 2018. There are unconfirmed reports about an Obi-Wan Kenobi spin-off.
Hello there.
And we'll let you know if Rey, Poe, Finn, or BB-8 get their own movies after that. The Star Wars franchise has a long history of expanding upon the characters and events depicted in the movies, so it was only a matter of time before reports like this started to surface.
Give it everything you got!
Before you start worrying about post-Episode 9 spin-off movies, Episode 8 The Last Jedi will hit theaters on December 15th. And not everyone is excited about seeing those new Star Wars movies in theaters. Several theater chains in the U.S. are reportedly furious with Disney over the demands the studio has made in exchange for being able to show The Last Jedi. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal, Disney is requiring theaters to hand over as much as 70% of the revenue from ticket sales, which is higher than the 60% asked by most big movies. Disney is also reportedly demanding that multi-screen theaters show The Last Jedi on their biggest screen for at least 4 weeks straight, which ties their hands and means they won't be able to swap it out for a different movie if ticket sales start to drop. It's not uncommon for movie studios to make demands like this, although this goes a little further than ever before, probably because Star Wars is such a force to be reckoned with. We'll let you know if theater owners strike back.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
And another big Disney movie that's likely to be the king of theaters is the live-action remake of The Lion King. Disney has officially confirmed the full vocal cast for their new take on the beloved animated film. As you can see in this image released by the studio, the lead lion Simba will be voiced by Community's Donald Glover, with his friend Nala portrayed by none other than Beyoncé. She's easily the highest profile member of the cast and will no doubt help propel the film to even greater box office success. The rest of the cast includes Chiwetel Ejiofor as the villainous Scar, John Oliver as the bird Zazu, Seth Rogen as the warthog Pumbaa, and the irreplaceable James Earl Jones back as Mufasa, making him the only one from the original film to come back.
We are all connected in the great circle of life.
Following the success of the new Beauty and the Beast and The Jungle Book, The Lion King is just the latest Disney adventure to get a live-action adaptation, although it's debatable whether or not this really counts as a live-action movie. Unlike those other films, there are no human characters in The Lion King, which means everyone will be brought to life via computer animation. It will be interesting to see just how much of the film actually is live action and how much is animation. We'll get to find out when it hits theaters in summer 2019. It looks like Mario is more popular in the West than he is in his home country of Japan. After revealing yesterday that Super Mario Odyssey has already sold more than 2 million copies worldwide, Nintendo has now revealed that more than half of those copies were sold in North America alone. This makes Odyssey the fastest-selling Mario game ever in North America, outpacing 2009's new Super Mario Bros. For the original Wii. This also makes Odyssey the fastest-selling Switch game in general, outpacing the previous record holder, Breath of the Wild. The popularity of these games and their iconic lead characters is something that Nintendo is starting to capitalize on more and more as they branch out into new transmedia ventures. They're currently working with Universal Studios on Nintendo-themed attractions for Universal Parks and Resorts in Japan and the US, the first of which will open in the year 2020. They've also stated that they're working with Universal and other film companies to develop new movies and TV shows featuring their characters, something that they've been very reluctant to do for decades after the disastrous reception of the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I'll kill that plumber!
The cutesy narrative behind Super Mario Odyssey is a perfect example of how a new Mario movie could work, so we'll let you know what happens. The first new film based on a Nintendo property will be the live-action Detective Pikachu film, based on the recent Pokemon game of the same name. That begins shooting next year. Back over to the Nintendo Switch. If you're thinking about getting one, you're probably going to have to pick up an extra memory card as well. Rockstar Games has revealed that the Switch version of L.A. Noire won't actually fit on the system itself if you buy the digital download version.
This may be important.
The game takes up 29 gigabytes of room, and while the internal Switch memory is 32 gigabytes, at least 6 gigabytes of that is mandated to the Switch menu in OS.
We want some answers, and we want them quick.
This means that if you want to download L.A. Noire, you'll need to get a compatible micro SD card for the Switch, even if you don't have any other games stored on the device already.
Let's see where this takes us.
If you get the physical version of L.A. Noire, you'll still need to download an additional 14 gigabytes of gameplay data.
You look like the kind of guy who notices details.
L.A. Noire isn't the first Switch game to have this problem. NBA 2K18 had similar issues when it was released on the Switch in September. All of this just goes to show how tiny the internal Switch memory really is. 32 gigabytes is practically nothing, especially compared to the 1 terabyte offered by the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. L.A. Noire hits the Switch on November 14th, the same day a new 4K version lands on the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X.
How about we cut this little talk short before I lose my temper?
That wraps us up for the rundown. Thank you so much for watching. You know, we'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode for you. We've got tons of other content for you to check out. And if you dig it, hit subscribe, that little bell. And if you're so inclined, that sponsor button too.